Hi, this is Sydney Sang with Mission MathMinds here with our next female role model, Joanna Hu. Joanna works at Mars as a senior director of Coco, and she has 25 years of experience. And then, Joanna, would you like to give a brief introduction of yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Sydney. So my name is Joanna Hu, so I'm based in Chicago, and very honored to be talking with you today, Sydney.
It's nice talking to you too. So, how did you start your career?
Wow. I mean, I joined the food industry right off college, with my degree in chemical engineering. And it was a research scientist role to start. And then I've been in the food industry since. So I've gone from mainly in product development and innovation. And then now the role that I'm doing now is really much about the ingredients and the crop research on this ingredient that goes into chocolate, which is cocoa. And I think everybody can relate to chocolate, but it's hard to relate to, the tree and the crop itself, where our ingredients come from, which is cocoa. So I got into this career just really based off on, my love of, quite frankly, chemistry, and then chemistry kind of leads to one thing to the next, and then once you start working, you just sort of explore all the different options that the company has to offer. And I love the food industry because it just has a really wide base of like products, and they're fun, and they're everybody can recognize the brands, and it's something that gives you joy, and also you can share with other people. So for me, I think getting in this career, and I don't think I'll leave the food industry.
It's a very interesting um, industry. And what would you say has been your most rewarding accomplishment or experience within this industry?
Hmm. I think the most rewarding is, I think it's about, for me, I think to show love is kind of like showing it through experience of like food, and in my case, it will be like snacks. And so I think the most rewarding experience is that, how do you actually make someone's life a little bit happier, a little bit more joyful, something that you can afford every single day. So you don't need to really have, a big event or a big purchase to enjoy the product. So I think that's probably what is most rewarding. It's just like everyday, pleasure that you can give to someone. And I think doing it in a very safe way is also important as well, because there's a lot of food products out there that is not considered, very good for you or very safe. A lot of ingredients that are actually quite risky. So I think you got to know what you're buying. And for me, I think that's the most rewarding. How do you deliver kind of like these little happiness in a very safe way, and also in a very accessible way as well for all ages.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'll never turn down a Twix bar. So.
Yeah, for me, it's like the favorite is M&Ms, and particularly peanut M&Ms, and it's really good for sharing. For me, that's like the best candy like to share.
And what do you most enjoy about your job in your daily life?
Oh, there's a lot. I would say, currently in my job, what I do is really researching the crop, the ingredient goes into chocolate. So I think the most interesting part is probably the travel to these places where the crop is grown, and then you actually get to, like, I get to see, the visit the farms that actually grow this agricultural product, cocoa, um, and then also be able to bring it back to the science. So I think the most interesting thing is that there is a lot that can be explained by science, but then there's also a lot about human behaviors, like, why would someone, you know, plant and grow cocoa this way that is completely different than the person you see next. So the human behavior piece could be so vastly different. And so for me, that's most interesting piece is that, yes, there are many different answers to do the right thing, but science can really just help you like unlock a lot of different possibilities. And so I think, to be in STEM is almost like, you can answer a lot of these questions that, people cannot necessarily find the answer to, especially if you are one of the people that are like farming and growing the ingredients of our food. So I think you're supporting and helping them find a better way to do things.
Definitely. How does it um, differ being a woman in STEM? Does it? Would you have expected these, roles and like job aspects?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think time has really advanced a lot in terms of women in STEM. So when I went to college, being a chemical engineer, I think my class had only about 20% women in chemical engineering. It's a small class. And I think nowadays is a lot more gender balanced, which I love,
Yeah.
but I don't think we're quite there yet, quite frankly. So I think in that context, kind of like when I went to school and then being a woman in STEM, in a way, the good is that you feel kind of special because you are one of the very few women. And then the not so good, I would say, is, then you start to kind of see, why wouldn't more women want to be in STEM? So you start to kind of wonder, like, is it because it's too intimidating? And why would people want to be interested in what I'm doing as a woman? So, but when I got to the food industry, actually the food industry is very, very gender balanced. So in my view, I would say it's not really been a barrier for me. In fact, actually, it has been a really good enabler for me because I actually work with a lot of women. A lot of my bosses have been women. So, yeah, yeah. So for me, I think it's actually quite a privilege to be a woman in STEM, and I think there should be always more.
And with
How young are we talking about?
maybe college students.
College?
Yeah.
Um,
Deciding
yeah,
when you want to get into this career.
yeah. I think, yeah, if I would tell, let's say myself, like, so college, let's say freshman 18-year-olds, I would say always study the major that you really are passionate about. So for me, fortunately, I did that, even though I didn't really know what career I wanted to get into. But I knew that kind of the space that my major of chemical engineering, what it can get into. Um, and then I would say just try things. I would say, something that I would tell myself is like, what, what could I try? Before I would say no to something, what can I try to experience that first before I say yes or no to certain things? So like for example, before I got into the food industry, I was interning at a chemicals company that is focused on like, agricultural like grains ingredients, but it was nothing about like products for food. And so for me, I tried that out. I knew that the factory environment wasn't for me. Then I was able to like eliminate that as a choice. So I think trying things out is like important. Then you really can just use it as an evidence and say, well, do I like it or do I not like it?
Yeah. And then we'll wrap it up with who is your biggest inspiration or female role model?
Yeah, this is a tough one. Actually, when I was like my young self, I didn't really have one. So I think maybe kind of I can talk a little bit about what inspired me to get into STEM and my chemistry teacher in high school inspired me to get into STEM. And to me, it wasn't so much about having a female role model or a male role model. For me, it's just a role model that was important to like because he was so passionate. I still remember his name. He unfortunately he passed, but his name was Mr. Lewis. I still remember him. Just really passionate about chemistry, and I really got into it. And then just kind of worked my way through. And I would say I don't know. Current days, there's just so many amazing women. I would say that like who inspired me in STEM. Um, you know, I I recently come across a episode. I forgot her name, who was an astronaut, a female astronaut. And he said that she said that like when she was growing up, she was afraid of heights, and she became an astronaut. So it was a really good story. I'm going to find her name, but I thought that story was very inspiring. So that kind of goes back to my thought about like you got to try it before to overcome your fear.
Very true. Thank you, Joanna. It was nice talking to you.
Yeah, it was nice talking to you.